Welcome to another episode of Eat, Smoke, Drink. Today I am going to review a glass. The Kimura Japanese hand-blown glass. Whiskey tasting glass. This particular glass, I've said glass so many times now, is a corpus shape, but much smaller and much more dainty and narrower. So you can see the Glen standard side by side. They're almost exactly the same height, almost identical height, but it's a much more teardrop shape. I've got two different whiskies today, a bourbon cask and a peated cask. I think that these glasses are best with that, and I'll tell you why. So let's start with the bourbon cask. Now, first impressions before we go on, very fine glass. When I say fine, very delicate, very pretty, very nice. Okay, it's very light, it's not too heavy, but it looks fantastic, it looks beautiful. Like, just well made, just elegant, simple, and so that gets a thumbs up from me. Also, it fits in my Glen carry box, which is also a big plus for me. It fits in my Glen carry case, which is pretty cool because they're exactly the same dimensions, and so I can take one of each and whatever. What I like about the Kimura glass when it comes to the bourbon cask, that bourbon cask sometimes can be quite subtle and mellow. Bourbon casks, you can't hide shit spirit, okay? So with this, it really funnels the spirit into the nose, and so you get a much more focused, very focused smell, very integrated smell. The evaporation is a little less as well. The Glen, I'm getting a little bit more alcohol smell because more evaporation. So you have to kind of bring it up a little bit more. So just a little insight, I'm actually thinking of transitioning into these glasses for some bourbon reviews, but I'll have to think about it because all my reviews so far have been the Glen, so keeping it standard is always going to be a desirable thing. But when I tried these, I thought, wow, you really get a good nosing ability in there. But you will find you substantially less evaporation. But in saying that, look, I wouldn't say any is inferior for the other one. All I'm saying is you get a very narrow focus smell with this, a bit more integrated versus this, but because of the evaporation on the Glen, in time you do get a better separation of flavors. So if you're trying to look for a separation of flavors, the Glen is pretty good. But if you're just wanting to appreciate a good whiskey, then the Kimura is really nice. It just feels good, it's light, and it's beautiful. I mean, look at that, it just looks beautiful. Something about it that's just so elegant. Then I don't think that the Glen wins in that point, but the Glen is definitely very functional. It's heavy, it's robust, whilst the Kimura is not robust at all. You can tell it's very fine. Yeah, so the Kimura is a very integrated smell. It is harder to pick the individual flavors, but the flavors are more cohesive. So that's my take on that with a bourbon cask. Now let's try it with a heavily peated whiskey. Now, just while you're wondering why I've done the two, I don't like the Kimura glass too much on heavily sherried whiskey. It's okay. I think it's a little bit, if it's too heavily sherried, it's a little bit too focused. Something like a Glen is good, or the Wilsberger is good, the Cradle glass is good, the Denver Liley is good for something heavily sherried because it gives that breathing space on that tightness of the heavily sherried. It helps dissipate some of the sulfur to get to the bottom notes. But with heavily peated, I definitely think the Kimura really stands out. So the strongest point of the Kimura is heavily peated whiskey. It does integrate the flavors, and it really gives for a delicious nosing session. But once again, look, I'm not faulting the Glen can, that's my go-to. The Glen can, you are getting a lot of separation of flavours. It separates the flavours a lot, and that's good for me doing the reviews, because when I separate it, then I can tell you the different flavours I'm smelling. While with a Kimura, it's a bit harder to get some individual notes in there. Yeah, now for red wine finishes, or red wine finishes, so we say Burgundy and Cab Sav and all of that, the Kimura is also pretty good in that regard, because those are not as robust and heavy and deep as a sherry. For some reason the sherry really benefits from the breathing room, I don't know why, but I also think the Kimura is good for the red wine finishes with a bit more delicate red wine flavours. But I think Peated, definitely the Kimura glass is my favourite so far, because I'm getting peat with everything else cohesively. Thank you very much for joining me today, and if you have any questions, let me know. I will tag Kimura Glass Instagram and webpage down below. And until next time, make sure you eat, smoke, drink. Cheers.